Chapter 36, Special Recruitment Recommendation. Yes, that's right. I saw that you are enrolled in the School of Enlightened Mind. You have sensory abilities. Why did you not come to the School of General Senses? The bald Professor Ku Qingshan went straight to the point. Zhu Tui was startled. Was this bald associate professor trying to poach him away from the School of Enlightened Mind? What was their son? Was it because he had exceptional abilities? Was it because he was too handsome? Based on principle, Zhu Tui did not wish for it to be the latter, because he really was very handsome. The probability of the associate professor poaching him because he was handsome was too terrifying. By the side, Chai Zhao was also very shocked. Under normal circumstances, the issue of poaching was very rarely seen in the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. Of course, there was the occasional fighting for the extremely gifted talents. Associate professors and even the department heads would go all out for those people. However, even though Zhu Tui, who was in front of him, had activated a little more genetic base points than an average student, he had not displayed any startling direction in his genetic talent ability. Thank you, Professor Ku, but I have already chosen the School of Enlightened Mind. It's all right. Choices can be changed. Ku Qingshan flashed a wide smile. I think that with your talents, you are more suited to be developed in the School of General Senses. The bald Ku Qingshan did not have any intention of giving up. Thank you for your kind intentions, Professor. Zhu Tui refused politely. Actually, I think that my talent in general sense is very average. You also saw it from the results of the test just now. The bald Ku Qingshan glanced at the testing equipment, then turned to look at Zhu Tui again. He then said that toy might not be accurate sometimes. Zhu Tui's heart tightened when he heard that. Did this bald professor notice his false report just now? However, after thinking about it, Zhu Tui eliminated that possibility. He should not be that powerful. Mental senses were a mysterious and illusory force. If this bald associate professor could monitor what he did with his mental senses, the associate professor would possess ungodly power. Perhaps it is just his suspicion? Thank you, Professor. Don't be in a hurry to refuse me, the professor was quick to reply. I think that it is suitable for you to develop yourself in the School of General Senses. Also, I have a special recruitment recommendation. I can give you the special recruitment recommendation. We can boost your level assessment by a grade for this year. The bald Professor Ku Qingshan immediately offered a tempting condition. Chai Zhao opened his mouth wide. Special recruitment recommendation. Darn it! He had long heard about the school's special recruitment recommendation. However, these recommendations were only held by experienced and esteemed professors. There were a very limited number of them. He had never seen anyone get the special recruitment recommendation. However, he was seeing one in person right now. It was even being used by a professor to poach a student from another school. Senior Chai Zhao was jealous again. At this moment, Zhu Tui's emotions were extremely complex. It was not only about helping Zhu Tui reduce the burden on his family, it could greatly assist Zhu Tui in his future. However, Zhu Tui couldn't jump to the School of General Senses immediately. Firstly, he was scared. Zhu Tui really did not want to become a spy. Secondly, based on what Zhu Tui had learned these past few days, he knew that his mind power was quite powerful. And Zhaoxu's mind power was equally powerful. The abilities that Zhao Saxui displayed when they had been assaulted by the Earth Element superb individual the other day were extremely powerful. Most of the abilities were extensions of her mind power. Zhu Tui felt that Zhao Saxui might be more suitable as his teacher. A correct direction was more important than anything else. If he was on the wrong course, it would be useless even if he was sitting on an ultrasonic jet. Thank you, teacher. Don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Take some time to consider it. It is a special recruitment recommendation. There are only 1 or 2 spots in each school. There was an alluring tone in Ku Qingshan's voice. Clearly, he had managed to determine something from Zhu Tui's test just now. Brother, largely speaking, the School of General Senses is much better than the School of Enlightened Mind. I think that you can consider it. Ku Qingshan had a look of approval when he heard Chai Zhao's words. He thought that Chai Zhao was an understanding lad. However, you would have to obtain approval from your teacher if you wish to switch schools. She has to sign and approve of your request before you can switch schools, Chai Zhao said. Don't worry, there's no way that your request will be rejected. I'll personally voice the request if there are any problems. Ku Qingshan had a confident expression. That's right. Professor and Zhao Xoxui should be understanding enough. Chai Zhao seemed to be murmuring to himself. However, the name and Zhao Xoxui caused Ku Qingshan's expression to change. Even his voice started to tremble slightly. Your teacher Aizen Zhao Xoxui. That's right, it's Professor An. I am the student that Professor and recruited from Jincheng Prefecture this time, Zutui said. Not bad. Ku Qingshan's smile was a little unnatural. Yes, Zutui, you can consider the matter for yourself. I'll definitely welcome you if you want to come to the School of General Senses. Of course, it depends entirely on your will and choice. It must be in your free will that you come to the School of General Senses. Yes, free will. Qingshan seemed to be constantly emphasizing the words free will. It sounded a little strange. Thank you, Professor. I'll consider it. Zutui turned to leave with Chai Zhao after he said that. He was about to leave when the snub-nosed teenager completed his test. Du Hong, you activated 15 genetic base points and have a fundamental rating of low-grade level D. However, your sensory abilities have been rated as exceptional. We can raise your fundamental rating by 2 grades. Your rating can be set as high-grade level D. Yes, you should belong to the School of General Senses. If you have no problems, you can sign here and acknowledge your results. Zutui was a little curious upon hearing the snub-nosed teenager's results. The sensory abilities of the teenager that he chided just now were exceptional. What were his specific scores? When he saw that Ku Qingshan had already walked far away from him, Zutui gathered his focus and instantly saw the contents of Du Hong's result slip. Sensory distance 2.98 meters. Clarity rating of the senses clear, larger than 0.5 millimeters. Du Hong's sensory distance was not much shorter than Zutui's. However, the clarity of his senses was much weaker than Zutui's. 10 target objects were used to test for the clarity of a student's senses in the test installation. Larger than 0.5 millimeters. That meant that Du Hong had seen the 7th object clearly, but not the 8th object. The 7th object had words that were 0.7 millimeters large, while the 8th had words that were 0.5 millimeters large. The 9th was 0.3 millimeters, and the last one was 0.1 millimeters. Zutui did not have to use any effort to see the 10th object clearly. Yes, I am more powerful. I am more intelligent. Zutui suddenly had a thought. Du Hong's mental senses had been graded as excellent. Would he be regarded as a unique talent and be chosen for special training? To undertake intelligence work. Be a spy or something? I'll have to take note of what he is doing in the future when I have time. Zutui left with Chai Zhao. Du Hong, who had just taken his results slip, turned around excitedly. He wanted to boast about his results to Zutui. However, he saw that Zutui had already left the area and could only see his back from a distance. Senior Chai, I've already completed the test of the general senses. Does this mean that the results of my level assessment have been decided? Zutui chatted with Chai Zhao along the way, more or less. Low-grade level C. You got a scholarship for low-grade level C the moment you entered the school. To tell you the truth, I am a little envious. Chai Zhao sighed. When I entered the school, I only got a mid-grade level D. I toiled for an entire year before obtaining the low-grade level C treatment I have now. Chai Zhao was a little sad and envious. Seeing how sad Chai Zhao was, Zutui could not help but ask, Senior Chai, I read from the student handbook that I can still improve my grade if I have good or exceptional abilities. What do you think of my bean flicking technique? Oh, yes. Does the bean flicking technique count as an ability from the extreme branch? Does an ability from the extreme branch count toward the rating in the mystery branch? Zutui asked in a hurry. It counts. It doesn't matter if it is from the extreme branch or mystery branch. It would count as long as it is an ability. Mid-grade level. Zutui had not even entered the school yet, but the treatment he would get was already higher than a senior like Chai Zhao who had toiled for a year. Chai Zhao became even more envious. The testing location for the bean flicking technique was at the testing station for upper limb strength at the extreme branch. There had not been many people at the Mystery Branch Institute, be it in the School of Enlightened Mind or the School of General Senses. There had been no need to queue. However, at the extreme branch, Zhu Tui truly realized what a crowd was. There were 10 long lines at the testing station for upper limb strength. Every line had more than 50 people in front of him. This queue caused Zhu Tui and Chai Zhao to gasp at the same time. "All right, brother, you can queue on your own. There are about 50 people in the queue. That should take about 90 minutes. I'll come to look for you in an hour and a half. I'll go guide the rest of the students." Chai Zhao left after he said that. Then, Zhu Tui called Cheng Mo. Cheng Mo was full of grievances. He said that he had become hungry while queuing, but it had not reached his turn. There were too many people. Out of the 11 genetic base points that Cheng Mo had activated, 7 of them were in the stomach while 4 had to do with his spine and waist strength. In the end, he was recruited into the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College's School of Power. There was a designated faculty within the School of Power that admitted students who had activated weird or less desirable genetic base points like Cheng Mo. Thus, Cheng Mo had been allocated to the Extreme Branch Institute. It was natural for it to be crowded. The Wuxia Genetic Evolution College was the top college in the Wuxia sector, even though it had a stringent requirement when it came to recruiting students. It faced the applications of students in the entire Wuxia sector. There were over 30 prefectures. They recruited over 6,000 students a year. It was rumored that they recruited almost 7,000 students this year. That did not include the students who had entered the college through other means, such as the descendants of heroes who had entered because of their high individual rights. The number of new students definitely exceeded 7,000. However, out of the 7,000 students, over 90% belonged to the Extreme Branch Institute. There might just be 10% of the students in the Mystery Branch Institute. It might even be lesser than that. That included the students who have been sent to the School of Enlightened Mind to make up the numbers. However, Zhu Tui was not a stranger to waiting in line. When he was in his second year of high school, he had queued an hour for a famous bubble tea store. When he was in his first year of middle school, his father had dragged him along to queue at a supermarket at 7 in the morning to purchase eggs at a 40% discount. They queued 3 hours for the eggs. As for why Zhu Jiangguo had dragged Zhu Tui along, the reason was simple: limited purchase. A person could only buy 2 pounds of eggs. They would have 2 people if he dragged Zhu Tui along. Thus, Zhu Tui was not anxious when he faced the queue. He had completed most of his tests today anyway. If he could get a good rating for his finger strength test, he might be able to obtain a rating of mid-grade level C. Zhu Tui was rather looking forward to it. He scrolled through social media and looked to see if there were any new dramas. 90 minutes would pass rather quickly. However, the sun over his head was blazing. He did not bring an umbrella. During this time, Chai Zhao had brought several students to the Extreme Branch Institute to join the queue. Yet, it was not Zhu Tui's turn. However, the time passed rather quickly. Finally, it was almost Zhu Tui's turn. Zhu Tui took out his material and was about to pass it to the teacher. Suddenly, Zhu Tui's communication device started to beep continuously. The tone signaled that he had received 7 to 8 messages. At the same time, a commotion suddenly burst out from the testing station for finger and palm strength behind him. A new student, who was exuding a ferocious aura, brought along 3 other students as he charged forward from the back of the queue. He forcefully cut himself into the queue at the very front.